Kia Forte walked so the Kia K4 could run. Hey everyone, my name is Gabi. In today's video, myself and
Michael
are going to be reviewing the 2025 Kia K4 GT Line Turbo Limited. Now, of course, this is a live streamed walkthrough. If you're new to this channel, we do them every single weekday live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're doing this in real time with no script, a lot of corny comments, and the probability that there will be a camera failure. But you know what? We do it in real time so we can talk to you guys and see what questions you have so we can answer them like real people. So in today's walkthrough, we'll go over everything, including the technology, the performance, the price points, the interior, and just why this vehicle is so special and is certainly maybe better, not maybe, it is, than the Kia Forte. And that's coming from someone who owned and loved their Kia Forte. Shall we get into it, Mike?
Of course.
Okay, we'll first start off with the front end and the exterior walkthrough. I also like to talk about the powertrain just right after we get the front end out of the way, so let's get right into it. First things first, and what really drew me to the Kia K4 was the lighting. So we got bold, sharp lights. There's a lot of angles on this vehicle, and they're all going to be sharp, definitely widening the appearance of the car. Now, speaking of wide, this vehicle is going to be wider and longer than the outgoing Kia Forte, so you are getting a larger car. However, it's still classified as our compact and most affordable vehicle in Kia's lineup. Maybe not the one we have to showcase here today, but the base model is the most affordable car. All right, let's get into this car though. For your headlamps, you get full LEDs, and right now I have the fog light sequence on, so the fog lights, I should say, are integrated into the main projection lights as well. So this is your fog light setup. You'll also notice the bold, bright amber daytime running lights. I love what Kia is doing with ambers. They're just so sharp. Definitely have a signature look to them as well too, as you can tell a car like this is coming up right behind you and you know it's a Kia K4. Also, those are going to be your repeater lights, so when you go to indicate a turn, because they are so large and noticeable, everyone will be able to tell which way you're going, as long as you indicate. All right, we got some lights turning off right now. I'm just gonna hop in the cabin and turn on the full light sequence. You'll notice if you opt for this trim level, we do have a little bit of specialized lighting, and that is gonna come down to the Cube premium projection lamps. So if you get a closer look, you'll notice a bit of a cubic design. Do you see it, Mike? Let's get everything on right now. Do you see those small cubes?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There we go.
Perfect. All right, and that's going to be your high beams. Bring it back down. Now I'll quickly hit the hazard so you guys can see the ambers in their sequence. Perfect. While I'm in the driver's area, I'll also go ahead and pop the hood to talk about powertrain. But before we do that, there's a couple extra safety functions that you'll get on this trim level that are certainly worth talking about. Number one is going to come down to the forward-facing camera here. So this vehicle, for the first time ever in a Kia compact, we have a full 360 view camera. That means that this forward camera will turn on and show you a live feed of whatever's happening around you as long as the forward parking sensors get triggered. So if I pull up to a vehicle ahead of me, let's say I'm forward parking, and I reach within this certain proximity, I'll see a view. I'll also get audible alerts to let me know when I'm getting too close, and it's a crystal clear image. So just great advanced safety functions that not a lot of compacts have. A couple other things come down to the styling. So you'll see a lot of gloss black elements, mainly in the grille over here, but we also have a nice mix of this machine finished aluminum. I think it looks very good. Along the bottom, there's a bit of dark satin chrome. I shouldn't actually say chrome because it doesn't have shine to it. That's where the satin comes into play. Nonetheless, even if you are getting a dark gray or a black exterior paint color like this, it helps brighten up the space a little bit so the car isn't completely blacked out. There's some contrast and some definition. Your Kia emblem is also finished in that brushed aluminum. And now let's pop the hood. Now, powertrain-wise, here's where some of the old Forte lovers might come for me. We still have a 1.6 liter turbocharged gasoline direct injection engine, except this time, instead of producing 201 horsepower, we have 190. When it comes to torque, we're also at 195 pound-feet of torque. And let me tell you, that slight horsepower loss is a-okay because this car offers you a whole lot more and it is still a ton of fun to drive. So with this horsepower and torque spec and this engine configuration, instead of opting for a 7-speed dry-type dual clutch, we now have a standard 8-speed automatic transmission. Why is that better? Well, if you're someone who does a lot of stop and go or just commuting driving, dry-type dual clutch transmissions feel very lurchy. Sure, they're fun and engaging when you're driving them peppily, but in your average day-to-day drive, it's not exactly great for the transmission and it doesn't feel too great for you as a driver. So the 8-speed was definitely the way to go. In terms of fuel consumption, this vehicle has a rated liters per 100 kilometers combined of 8 liters per 100 kilometers. That is again going to be highway and city. However, if you do a majority of your driving on the highway, you'll be pleased to know it's rated at 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers, which I think is fantastic. Coming along to the wheels, this might be one of my favorite parts. If you do opt for the GT Line Turbo Limited, so the top model, you'll get the same 18-inch alloy wheel design, except it's all done in black. It's a nice gloss black paint, which I think looks very good, complements the rest of the dark exterior elements. However, if you prefer a machine finished look, you can save $3,000 and get the trim level below. Some tech functions may be deleted as well, but for the wheels. On the side, we'll have a parking sensor. You can kind of see it. Hopefully our camera's working good today. And that makes this vehicle have an extra fun safety setting, fun and safe setting. So this vehicle is equipped with Highway Drive Assist Level 2. That's an upgrade from the trim level below it. That means that this vehicle knows the speed limit of the highway that you're on. It can keep you centered in your lane, so actually steer for you, maintain a safe distance from the car ahead of you automatically, and even hit stop and go traffic, bringing you right back up to speed again. But it can also do automated lane changes, the first ever for a compact Kia. Score. I really do love this feature. I have used it in some of our vehicles before, and it's spot on. It doesn't feel really weird, and you can also go ahead and change the customization to make it have a bit of a faster acceleration time, reaction time, so it doesn't feel like the computer's driving. It's still very much just like how you would. But it's an assistance. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. The car is still so much fun to drive and very comfy, just regardless of the systems. For your mirrors, you get a mix of body color with a hint of gloss black. Sorry, not body color, oh my goodness. You get gloss black with a hint of that aluminum finish with an LED turn signal indicator and a camera underneath the mirror itself. So this camera it's not exactly new to Kia's lineup, but it is new to the compact segment here. So it's going to show you a clear image of everything that's in your blind spot. So if you go to indicate a right-hand turn or left-hand turn, it'll show up the corresponding camera and give you a clear view of whatever you need to see. Underrated feature, if you do a lot of parallel parking, this will actually show you exactly where the curb is too, so you can make sure you're not curbing those beautiful wheels. It's just a great function to have. And again, it's crystal clear. More of those nice belt lines on the vehicle, so everything's cohesive. Some of the accents that you'll see on the front, they expand to the side, and you'll also see them in the rear, so it's not mixed match proportions. It just looks good, and the vehicle flows very nicely. Your door handles are also a big part of that. There's no buttons on them anymore. Everything is done by proximity. So on this specific trim level, you get a great function called Digital Key 2, allowing you to still use the great proximity function of just simply having the key on you and grabbing your door handle to have it unlock and pressing it again to lock it. Or you can go ahead and unlock, start, and drive your vehicle utilizing your phone, thanks to the Kia Connect app. It's a pretty cool function, and you can also send your key to friends. Also, you can revoke access too, so if they ever do you wrong, you can remove their access. But it's just pretty cool. If you ever forget your keys, you're not stranded. Up along, you'll see the roof lines. Today I'm wearing heels, so I can see it just fine. Sneak peek at the fact that we have an extra wide sunroof. I was about to say windscreen. And then coming along towards the back end, part of the styling that really drew me to this vehicle is the fact that it's got very much a fastback leg style body with very wide hips. It is a very curvy car, lots of muscular stance on the car. It just looks so good. Your tail lamps are going to be LED. You again have that same brushed aluminum Kia emblem with a K4 badge on the left-hand side and a GT line badge on the right. You also get your rear backup sensors or parking sensors. There's 4 of them along the back bumper and a very nice gloss black diffuser. You'll also see a little bit of those gunmetal accents, just like what we saw on the front lip of the car. So again, just creating those mixed elements, but doing so in a nice way that flows well. For your exhaust, this is the only underwhelming part of the exterior design in my opinion. It's a single tip exhaust and it's downward facing. So it's not too exciting, but it's there. Thought I'd mention it. Let's check out the trunk now. So you do have a proximity release button just right next to your backup camera and 413 liters of cargo space. So a very spacious trunk. Of course, with sedans, there is always a lot of space in sedans, but the opening is where things can struggle. It has a very wide opening and the height is also quite friendly too. Now, as far as depth goes, it's obviously going to be deeper than the entry lip here, but it is not too deep where you feel like you're gonna dig for gold to find your stuff under here. A great advantage that the K4 has over some of its competitors, namely the Elantra, is the fact that it does have a compact spare tire standard. So no mobility kit. If you do experience a flat or a complete blowout of your tire, you'll never be stranded because you have a real spare, not a mobility kit. On top of that, this vehicle does have 5 years, unlimited kilometers of roadside assistance standard throughout North America. So whether you're going on a trip to the States or just anywhere in Canada, you will be covered. And then along this side here, I realized our lights went out, so I should probably run in and grab that. Michael, I don't know if you want to show the fuel door. I'll keep talking while I get the lights on. As far as your fuel tank goes, it's a 47-liter fuel tank, so not too big to fill up. One thing I don't like about my current vehicle that I loved about my Kia Forte was the fact that, especially in the worst of cold winters, I wasn't at the pump for 7 minutes filling up my car. It was quick, it was easy, it's regular unleaded fuel, and it's not expensive to fill. It's also great on fuel, especially on the highway. Again, 6.6 liters per 100 kilometers. I can't complain. A couple more tech functions before I hop in. Like I said, there's a full 360 camera view of this vehicle. There's also forward, rear, and side parking sensors. But not only that, we have Highway Drive Assist Level 2, over-the-air software updates, an advanced forward collision avoidance assist system that'll monitor junctions, lane changes, everything, and rear cross-traffic collision avoidance assist. So when you're backing up this vehicle at a busy parking lot and there's a bunch of big cars beside you, the vehicle can hit the brakes if it senses a rearward, I'm not even going to try to say it again, a backwards collision. All right, Michael will give a quick pan of the interior. Not gonna lie to you guys today, I feel a little shaky. I don't know, I feel nervous. It's not our usual 2 p.m. live stream time, and I think I'm getting sick, but it's okay. All right, for our interior, you can definitely see some of those light accents exclusive to the GT line trim levels. I think they look fantastic, and they definitely did a good job of keeping the interior sporty while still giving us the luxe and tech functions that a lot of our buyers want. Something that the K4, or the Forte, I should say, didn't exactly do too well. And again, you guys, I love the Kia Forte, but while everything was pretty sporty inside, it wasn't this comfy. So let's talk comfort. On the driver's side door, you will see a lot of buttons. Pretty strange at first, but this is where Kia is moving forward with some of their cars. We got memory seats, so 2 separate buttons to save your seat settings. However, based off your driver profiles in the head unit, you actually get 4 or more driver profile seats. You got your heated steering wheel right over here with 2 different levels of heat, plus heated seats and ventilated seats for both seats up at the front. I said seats a lot. Down at the bottom, you get a Harman Kardon sound system, premium sound, and beautiful, beautiful ambient lighting. So you'll see it along this area, along our driver control switches here. And then right up at the top, we have our mirror controls. So of course, left and right, they're electronically controlled and heated, your door locks, and then your front and rear windows. Now the front windows are both going to be express windows. So quick one touch, they're down, one touch, they're up. Great to have. That also means they're obstacle detecting. Along the side here, perfect in the driver's reach, we have a quick brightness adjustment. So because screens are getting bigger and bigger, we should probably not make things confusing. So if things are too dim up at the front or maybe too bright, you can quickly adjust them on the fly without digging through menus while you're driving. You also have your electronic parking brake here, your traction control, and then some nice metal accents along your vents. You'll also see a quick peek of some of the more ambient lighting that of course you can change the color for, and just a couple of hash marks on this dash pad here. I think it looks fantastic. Great way to make the cabin dark but still have some definition, some design integrated into it. And of course, the steering wheel. This steering wheel looks a little different. It's a fairly large wheel. However, it is super, super comfy to utilize. You also have a little bit of a window here that helps viewing this giant 12.3-inch display ahead of you. So there's no awkward cutoff sections. All of your driver controls are sectioned to one side. It's going to be on the left-hand side here. So things like your cruise control, set your speed, set your following distance, as well as your lane keep assistance, so to turn it on or off on the fly. The right-hand side will be reserved for things like your volume, your voice controls, and just general media controls. You also have paddle shifters mounted on the back to control your 8-speed automatic transmission, but good news, we still have a regular shift lever, so you can also tip it over to the left, upshift, downshift, that kind of thing. So whatever your preference is, it's nice to still have some of these, I don't want to say old-fashioned, but things we like. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm very happy there's no dial shifter in this car. All All right, Michael, do you want to join the passenger side?
Of course, you want to hold the camera to show the screen.
Okay. All right, let's wake up the car, put it in accessory mode, and check out this 12.3-inch display. With this button right over here, I can actually cycle with what I'm viewing. So take a look at the center of the display. Right now we're on our lane assist system, but I can also switch it over to our trip. And then there's a couple different views here. So I can move it down to since refueling, since last reset, that kind of thing. And also view my tire pressure live. You also have your navigation here. So right now, of course, there's no route set, but if I did place a route in my navigation head unit here, it would show me my direct turn-by-turn there. So while there is no heads-up display, it's still really great to have it in the driver line of view. The right-hand side will have your speedometer, but of course, your tachometer, but right now we got too many things going on, so it is closed. There we go, you can see it now. Everything is digitized on the display, and it just has a very, very simple yet modern look. So everything you need all in your line of vision, and it's not complicated. On the bottom left, you'll see if your parking brake's on, your distance to empty, and then of course your fuel meter. The right-hand side, you got your temperature, your odometer, and then your selected gear. All right, here's something that's different. Exclusive to the GT line trim levels, we have our drive mode select mounted right underneath your horn, driver airbag, and the choice between normal and sport mode. Really the only modes you ever need in a vehicle. Now, what these drive modes do, because they're not just for show, the sport mode will kind of lengthen your gears too, so you'll ride up your gear a little bit longer to get the most out of your power band. Normal mode will have a bit more quick shifts to increase efficiency and just give you a general normal driving response. It's also important to know that sport mode doesn't actually increase your horsepower or anything like that. You're 0 to 100 times. There's not going to be a big difference there, but it does have a bit more of a sporty response to it. So when I step on the gas pedal, the vehicle will feel a little quicker. So it's really great to drive in. I used to keep my vehicle exclusively in sport mode. It will consume a little bit more fuel, but hey, miles per gallon if you're like me. If not, keep it in normal mode. The middle screen here, or I should say center display, is a 12.3-inch screen as well, except this time it'll be a touch control. As you can see, we have integrated navigation, so that will work regardless of if you have cell phone connection or not. However, I know a lot of you guys will be asking, what about CarPlay? What about Android Auto? Well, it is wireless in this vehicle and it'll utilize the entirety of the screen. So very, very tech forward and super, super responsive. Browse your maps, media, whatever you'd like, all from those controls. Underneath, we have real buttons and real dials. So a quick button for your home screen, even a search function. When you first get a new car, it can be pretty overwhelming. So having the ability to search up things like clock can help you find what you're looking for, or you can watch the Kia Hyundai channel. There we go. This search function also searches navigation data, so if you're trying to find a select place or a select function, so something within the head unit here. A little bit of vents underneath, just our standard vents, your hazards, and then your temperature control. Now this is one of two ways to control your temp. We got dual zone, so driver and passenger. You also have your mode, so to change your fan direction, and then your fan speed. If you press and hold this down, it'll shut everything off. If not, you can also toggle it up to increase the fan speed, toggle it down to decrease. To make things a little bit more customizable though, we have this 5-inch HVAC display. So it is a little bit in the line of view from the steering wheel here. The driver can't necessarily see all of it, but what you can see perfectly every single time is this plus button here, which actually expands that menu to go over the entirety of the touchscreen display. This way, it's a lot easier to find your perfect temperature and perfect setting, and you can also control the rear seat controls here. So if you want to turn on their heated seats before they hop in your car, you certainly can. Same thing with the front, set your exact temperature, set your exact fan speed, and your direction. I really like this touchscreen display. I really also do like how when you go to exit, it'll take you right back to where you were started before, so you don't have to find that last screen again. Underneath, we have dual USB-Cs. The one on the left will be for data connectivity and charging. The one on the right will be simply for charging. Then on top of that, you have a wireless phone charger. Now this wireless phone charger is a little bit raised, so its whole purpose is to not let your phone overheat too much, and it's also going to be a lot quicker than some of the wireless chargers of the past. I have a major problem with wireless phone chargers. I feel like my phone's on there for an hour and it goes up 3%. Not the case here. Charlotte and I tried it driving on a super hot day in Austin, Texas. Our phones did not overheat and they stayed charged. All right, right in the very center, we got that regular shift lever gear shift, like I said earlier, our push to start ignition, our auto hold braking, as well as a button to turn off or on your parking sensors and our park view camera. I mentioned earlier that this 360 camera view will come in every single time you throw your car into reverse, but it'll also show up if you do something that triggers the sensor. So if I pull up to the wall, it shows me my front camera. If I'm reversing and getting close to the garage door behind us, it'll show the backup camera. But you'll also always get this top-down view, which looks a little wonky because Michael and I both have our doors open. There's also this view. So if you're nervous about your parking and want to double check you're in the lines, this shows you a full 360 view that you can move around to make sure your car is perfectly parked. Let me just close my door so you can actually see what it normally looks like. There we go. And now it looks a little bit more normal, doesn't it? That's us in the showroom there. All right, a couple more things I'll point out. Obviously, we got our cup holders here. They are pretty cool because they retract and you can always pop them back out, and they are fairly wide. The key is also pretty notable because it is a slim profile key. However, we now have our lock, of course, our unlock, never seen before features, our hold for a liftgate, as well as integrated remote start, and all of this will be standard on the Kia K4. The key itself also has a larger battery, so the lifespan should be quite longer. Not that we had issues with that in the past. And it has an external key fob, so if you ever, or I should say mechanical key, so if you ever are locked out of this vehicle due to a dead battery, you can still get into your vehicle. Underneath our center console, we've got center console space. There's no charges or anything in here, so it's pretty standard, but it is a pretty good size. I'll have Michael show the glove box quickly, and then we'll hop into the back seats.
Also gonna go and run to turn on the light.
Glove box is illuminated, which is always nice to see, especially when the lights shut off in the video bay. You guys can see what's in there. All right, we'll close that up, and I'll actually quickly talk about the headliner and the sunroof, or the head roof if you want to shorten it. So your headliner is all black, which I think suits the interior of this vehicle very, very nicely. And your sunroof is a wide style sunroof. So I don't know if you remember the Kia Forte sunroof, but it was significantly smaller, very, very much smaller. This, however, it's not a full panoramic roof, but it gives the illusion of that, and your rear passengers still have the ability to see out of it. So just a general, more luxurious experience for everyone in the cabin. All right, let's check out the back. And don't worry, Michael, I'll get the lights. In terms of performance, for all of our performance nerds out there, sorry you guys, lights are back on. We have a multi-link rear suspension that's exclusive to the Turbo model, so both the GT line and the GT line Turbo Limited will feature this rear suspension. Sorry, I don't know if you want to show it to him, but also that's my mom. Anyway, that's why it's hard to get work done around here. Rear multi-link suspension. So not only does that make the vehicle have a bit more of a steady ride, goes easier over bumps, potholes, you know, general Ontario roads or Canadian roads, but it's also great if you are someone who appreciates a little bit better handling. So tight corners or just being on the highway, it's going to be a little bit more steady and a little bit more responsive. All right, let me hop into the rear seats, and I'll go to our far left one first. So the seat ahead of me is how I would typically drive, and believe it or not, I don't sit that close to the steering wheel. Right now, you can already tell how much legroom we have in this vehicle. It is a very, very big increase from the Kia Forte. So lots of knee room, lots of room underneath the seat. So if you'd like to rest your feet under there, you certainly can. And in terms of headroom, although we do have a little bit of a downward slope here, there is still a very good amount of space, and the angle of these rear seats are also quite comfortable. So you're not too upright where it feels unnatural, but you're not too far back where you feel sleepy. And like I said, you still have a little bit of view of the sunroof too, which really brightens up the space here. What I really did like is how they continued the design elements of the front to the back. So you'll still see the white piping on the outsides of the seats with this nice black leatherette on the inserts. Your headrests will also be finished in that white. And then we have our center armrest or cup holder. It's very nice back here, I will say, a lot more spacious than my previous car, and these two main seats will be heated as well for your rear passengers' comforts, and you do have some ventilation as well. So, directional control, however, the actual temperature will be set based off whatever the front temp is. Down below, we got two USB-Cs, a little bit of parking space for your phone, and then beneath or behind the passenger seat, we do have our cargo net. For the seats themselves, they may look a little bit funky to you, but believe me, there is intention behind it. So this backing actually doubles as a coat hanger or a bag holder. You don't have to buy those Amazon ones that clip out. This looks good and it's built in. And I think it's a space saver too. So these seats, they have a little bit less, the frame isn't as big as something like the Kia Forte. Sorry, you guys, it feels like I'm hating on the Forte, but again, I love that car. So the frame isn't as big, it takes up less space, but there's a lot more room for padding on these seats. So while they are smaller, they're a lot more comfortable and they hug your body really, really nicely. They're very comfy seats to be in. And again, Charlotte and I spent a whole day driving the blistering heat in a K4. We tried it, we proved it, it's comfortable. Last thing I'll point out is the LED lights back here. So again, just LED lights all around. You see them on the headlamps, the tail lamps, everything. All right, I feel like I'm kind of losing it. It might be time for a Q&A. Michael, we could probably just do it here, looking at the phone.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I'm gonna get it.
All right, so I will place the phone down and jump scare warning. Here we are. Okay, there's 91 of you guys on right now, which is crazy to see so many people made it on, considering the time's different today. But we're very happy to have you here. Meserborn said the 360 camera looks incredible. Agreed. It's so nice to see advanced tech functions like that in a vehicle that's, I don't want to say in a vehicle like this, because this obviously isn't a bad car, but a vehicle in this price range and in this class setting. Again, compacts usually don't have this much comfort and tech functions. Are the front seats bolstered for sport driving? So there's no bolster setting on them. I realized I didn't even show the power controls. Guys, I'm so off my game today. Let me get out and show you guys. It's okay, Michael. I won't sit in the seat. I'll just step out. You do have a power driver seat. Let's see if I can get the camera to cooperate with me. So there's no bolstering, but you do have, of course, your power controls. So the height of the seat as well as the tilts. You got your backrest, and then this will be your lumbar support. Check it out. I will say just the general shape of the seat, you do have a really good amount of support surrounding. It's just not adjustable bolsters, but that's okay. The seats themselves are also very wide and very soft. So with leatherette, a lot of people ask, how does it feel? Is it anything like real leather? It's better. Feels like butter. It's so soft and very supportive. I do also really love the steering wheel. So the non-turbocharged models of the K4 have a bit more of a chunky steering wheel. This one is a little bit more lightweight, slim, but still is fairly big. I do like a big steering wheel. And then along the bottom, again, your drive mode select. Quick look at the door controls again. So heated and ventilated seats up at the front with a memory seat for the driver. All right. In the braking department, you got disc brakes all around, so solid disc brakes in the rear with ventilated up at the front. They're also going to be larger disc brakes than what you'll see on the non-turbocharged models. And of course, they're larger in the front, being as it is a front-wheel drive car. What are the floor mats thanking me for? It says, thank you for your business, I think. Yeah. Hey, Michael.
I'm curious now, where's the ambient lighting in the rear?
There isn't.
There isn't? Okay.
Ambient lighting only at the front. How powerful is the AC/heater coming out of the seats? So it's very powerful when you have it on the full blast setting. So if you have it on level 3 for heat, they will get very warm. After a while, it will taper off too. I believe it's probably 30 minutes, and then it goes to level 2 and then level 1 again. If you're always cold like me, you just keep hitting that button and it goes to full blast. For ventilated seats, it's the same thing. If you don't have any media on, so no music, you will probably actually hear the fans, which might make you think, what's broken in my car? What's happening? It's just the ventilation.
Yeah, level 3, you get so hot very quickly too.
How many categories are there for this car? I'm not sure what you mean by categories. If you mean competitors within the segment, there's a few of them. So of course, there's going to be the Civic, the Corolla. On the Hyundai side of things, there will be the Elantra. For Volkswagen, there will be the Jetta. But if you mean trim levels, there are 5 trim levels. So LX, which starts at $23,995 Canadian. Then there's the EX Plus, which adds on leatherette and a sunroof, and a couple other things. Then there's the GT line Turbo, which is one model below this one. It's priced at $31,495 Canadian, so $3,000 less. Same powertrain though, so same performance specs. And then there's this one, $34,495 Canadian. This is the very top trim available here in Canada.
Which is my favorite.
Yeah, I will say, I sometimes do prefer the wheels on the trim line below just because machine finished, I think is very classy. Black looks good too, but it really comes down to the exterior color for me.
Yeah.
On this gray, fabulous.
Yeah, and the white. So I just delivered white snow pearl
Yeah.
with the black wheels. Oh,
White cars with black accents always look good.
I couldn't stop staring at it. I was cleaning it outside.
Daily drive race car. This one? So this is a great daily in the sense that it gives you a little bit more performance than your average car, but I wouldn't go as far as call it a daily driven race car. I think the Forte GT of the past might be a better option just because it's transmission, but you could make this a race car. You certainly could.
I know somebody.
Ask Ryan if you'd prefer the Forte GT or the K4 GT Limited on the track setting, not just the everyday driving setting. Mr. Warren said, I really like the Oreo combination too. Yeah, so white car with black accents or black car with white accents don't exactly happen that often, but
Yeah.
white car with black accents. In a nutshell, what makes it look sporty just by looking at the car? So I would say the wheels were for sure. I'm having such a hard time speaking today. Just the design of the alloys definitely have a bit more of a sporty edge. It's not your standard, aluminum finish everyday car. The front end too has a lot of dark accents, a little bit of gunmetal along the lip. I was about to say spoiler.
The spoilers in the back.
Yeah, the back end too. So the diffuser is definitely more pronounced that you'd see on just a regular sedan. And then when you hop into the interior, you look at these seats, you can already tell there's something going on with this car. You got the white stitching, you got the white piping, lots going on. Yeah.
I agree.
As far as everything else goes, you'd probably have to pop the hood, look at the suspension. That's where you'll see the actual performance elements and not necessarily the aesthetic elements that make this a sportier car. So obviously the engine, turbo, GDI, suspension, multi-link rear, the brakes.
Yes, it actually, because I did take it for a test drive, and it's very soft on the bumps too.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I noticed.
that's again due to the transmission, the suspension on this vehicle, but the transmission also. So a regular 8-speed automatic is going to feel a lot smoother than a dual clutch transmission. It's just by nature. Same thing with the windows on this vehicle. So you get an acoustic laminated windscreen that helps a lot with cabin noise on the car, and just increased heating and our lights went off again. It's okay, Michael. We were going to end off anyway.
Okay.
Increased insulation on this vehicle, so the noise, vibration, harshness is definitely improved. A lot of compact vehicles, if you hop into, let's talk about extra compact. So Honda Fit or a Micra, you hear everything in those cars. The car sounds like it's like driving a tin can. Love them, but not exactly comfortable. This vehicle is very well insulated, very comfortable to drive. All right, shall we end off today?
Of course.
Okay. Goodbye, you guys. Thank you so much. And if you are in Ontario, listen to what Adele said. Drive safely. Apparently, we're getting bad weather today.
Let's hope not.
I thought it was spring.
It's spring.
Bye, you guys.